So let's talk about what's going on in Virginia. Okay. So Virginia's Democratic candidate for Attorney General, this is not the governor race, so we're going to get to that, is facing bipartisan backlash after some leaked text messages from 2022 show him using violent and inflammatory language about Republican colleagues. A. Jones here jokes about a GOP lawmaker getting, quote, 2 bullets in the head, as well as other comments about a Republican opponent. Jones was not in office then, but he had been a member of the state's House of Delegates until 2021. Now, Jones has apologized for this, calling his texts, quote, sickening and shameful. And Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin and others have called on Jones to drop out of the race as a result of this.
Well, he is right about that description. Yep. In this day and age, it's almost rare to hear that kind of apology. Mm-hmm. So I won't jump into the middle of that decision. But yeah, at least that sounds like an appropriate apology. Meanwhile, it remains to be seen if the fallout from Jones will impact the governor's race there. Virginia is home to one of 2 states choosing a new governor this year. New Jersey, of course, being the other, where we are. Early in-person voting in Virginia began September 19th. The candidates are Democrat Abigail Spanberger. She is a 3-term congresswoman and former CIA officer. On the other side, Republican Winsome Earl Sears, Virginia's lieutenant governor and a former Marine veteran. The latest polls, though, show this is not a close race. Washington Post, I think, has Spanberger up 12. The other recent poll has her up 10. They say it's tightening, but still a comfortable lead for Spanberger right now.
A lot to tighten if it really needs to be tight.
Yeah, Virginia and New Jersey drawing national attention since political analysts, the governor's races could be a bellwether for voters heading into next year's midterms. If you want a little context there, Kamala Harris won Virginia by about 5 points in 2024. And now if you look what's happened since then, she leads by about double that margin does the Democrats. So things going the Democrats' way from the time of the election.
So for a better understanding of the candidates and the issues, we're joined by Dwayne Yancey, founding editor of Cardinal News in Shenandoah Valley. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Okay. So Darren, tell us more about both candidates. What do we need to know?
Spanberger is a very disciplined campaigner. She is campaigning on the theme of affordability, which is very vague, but she is stuck to that message. Earl Sears' campaign can best be described as chaotic. She has changed campaign managers several times. She has lurched from one issue to another. Sorry, I'm being joined here by my assistant. And she has just disappeared for long periods of time. I mean, yeah, she's physically been around, but she just hasn't been saying anything. She's just gone radio silent for long stretches of time for no particular reason. So all that.
It's quite a strategy.
It's very unusual and has given Republican leaders much concern.
Well, we like mixing it up. But Dwayne, tell us what are the issues, despite what the candidates are running on? What would you say are the top 2 issues in Virginia right now?
The best gauge of that is the Washington Post poll that came out Friday. Lots of polls ask about what the issues are, but they have a preset list to choose from. The Post poll had an open-ended question, so I think we got a more natural view of what people were thinking. And the top issue by far is the economy. And of course, you have Virginia sits right outside Washington, D.C. Our biggest metro area are the D.C. suburbs. So President Trump's downsizing of the federal government is a big issue there. We're seeing unemployment rates rise at a very fast rate in that area. They're still relatively low, but they are rising fast, and so that drives a lot of concern there.
Right, and the shutdown certainly will play a role in driving that rate up. How is the shutdown playing there?
Well, we're not quite sure because it hasn't gone on long enough yet.
Right.
But yeah, and certainly Spanberger and the Democrats have been blaming Trump for that. And the Republicans have alternated between blaming the Democrats and trying to talk about something else. You asked what the top issue was in that poll, which showed the economy. Earl Sears hasn't really been talking about the economy. That's sort of part of her chaotic campaign. She's most recently been talking about transgender issues, which in that poll ranked very low. And of course, now she's going to be talking about Jay Jones's text messages, and we'll see how those play.
So often I think we see voters voting against the opponent as opposed for a person. Are we seeing enthusiasm in this campaign? Are people firmly behind one individual, or are they voting against the other option?
Until Friday with the Jay Jones text messages, and we don't know yet how those will play out. Mm-hmm. The enthusiasm level seemed primarily on the Democratic side. Again, that's based on polling, not just my observation, but based on polling that showed Democrats more enthusiastic. That is not unusual. Virginia historically votes for the party out of power in the White House. Our elections come right after the presidential election. So, you often see a case where, right now Republicans have won the White House, so they tend to be more complacent, and Democrats are eager to, do anything to get back to winning again. And this is the first opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Dwayne, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about those text messages? We just read it and we're learning about it for the first time. And Dave made the point, and I think we all agree, he apologized. It sounds, genuine. I mean, he said the right things in his apology, though he said they're shameful, and they sure do look shameful. Do you think Abigail Spanberger would be somehow blamed for this, or that the stink of this would get on her campaign?
I think that will be difficult to make that connection. I think Jay Jones, is in trouble. Again, I go back. I like to go on hard numbers and based on the polling. A lot of people simply didn't know who Jay Jones was. The polling there in the Attorney General's race was really just sort of reflecting party ID. If this is people's first introduction to him, it's not a flattering one.
The surprise is we've gotten this far into the conversation without talking about the Trump factor. How big a factor is he in this race?
He is probably a very big factor, particularly for Democrats. Much of their you asked what the issues are. The main issue really is Trump. As far as Democrats are concerned, they mention him at almost every opportunity, and I won't say that there is a lot of enthusiasm for any of the Democratic candidates, but there's a lot of enthusiasm against Trump, and that channeled to the Democratic candidates.
And that's back to that voting against the opponent as opposed to for something. Dwayne, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.